The European Nights Review Show is supported by Saltire Energy, the global market leader in specialist drilling equipment rental. Like 40 years before, it was another memorable night to remember in Gothenburg as Aberdeen came from 2 goals down to draw 2-2 with BK Hacken. It's all to play for next Thursday at Pittodrie, which will be a sellout after the club today confirmed all tickets have been sold. Hi everybody, a very good evening. How are you doing? Well, wasn't that a roller coaster of emotions last night? Absolutely superb result considering that we were 2-0 down and at one point looked like we were struggling. But my goodness, the endeavour, the heart, the bravery. Honestly, I've been absolutely buzzing. I don't know how you guys are feeling. You must be absolutely buzzing as well because it was just a sensational performance. And it's only half time, but it's put us in such a strong position come next Thursday. And as expected, it's a complete sellout at Pittodrie. Oh my goodness, what a night in store we've got. Hey, listen, welcome to ABTV this Friday evening. I hope you're all well. I hope you've all had an absolutely brilliant day today. So this show is the review after last night. It's all about you. All I'm doing tonight is just planning to get your comments on, read them all out. Got a couple of bits and pieces that we'll do for you this evening, sort of editorial stuff. But it's all about you. So just get in touch. You know what to do. Leave your messages. I'll do my best to read them out. Last night we breached 2,800 subscribers. So thank you very much. We actually added 30 new subscribers. So you are all very welcome. Really appreciate your support. I also noticed today that many of you have rejoined the membership scheme as well, as we have now kicked off for the season and we're back after a sort of a 6-week hiatus when I was down in Sydney working. So again, thank you so much for re-signing, rejoining, and yes, we just go again. It's absolutely brilliant. I've had a fantastic day, absolutely buzzing, dearie me, but take deep breaths. It's only half time. Right, let's start the show by just reminding you of the starting 11 that Barry picked last night. So it was the same team that started against Stirling Albion, but Barry's second half changes made all the difference with Jamie McGrath and James McGarry having outstanding and influential debuts. Let's also not forget that Angus MacDonald helped shore up our defence, which at times looked very shaky. And 11 of that team made their European debuts last night. This is what Barry had to say after the game. You could see the pressing. You could see the speed we want to play at. Sometimes we got it a bit wrong, but as we got better on the ball, we could have scored 5 or 6 goals. We could have won it in the end, and credit to the players the way they came back, especially after the penalty. It was a brilliant game for people to watch. The fans were fantastic. It sets up a great night next week. The players must never lose the supporters. They must take them with us because the fans will give us a lot of points over the coming season. But he did say there's still a lot of work to be done next week. So those were the thoughts of Barry last night. And what I thought was telling was how he mentioned the fans and how he mentioned them at half time during his team talk to get the fans on board. And if the players get us on board, we will of course be 100% behind them. And we will absolutely be there to get them over the line. And those 400 to 500 fans that made the trip to Gothenburg last night, you know, I was watching live on Red TV, I'm sure many of you were as well, were just simply outstanding and an absolute credit to the football club. The sea of red was just brilliant to see. And I tip my hat to every single one of you. And oh man, I just can't wait until next week. So let me just give you the match stats. So we put this together for you this afternoon before we came on air. So they enjoyed 61% of possession to our 39%. They had 18 shots in total. We had 17. They had 5 on target. We had 5 on target. They committed 12 fouls during the game to our 10. They won 5 corners to our 8, which I think is very telling, because if you look at those numbers, we match, if not better, them at home. And I think that just goes to show how well we played last night, considering the form that BK Hacken are in currently. And let's not forget, only lost 2 domestic league games last year on the way to winning the title for the first time in their history. 4 out of 5 recent games they've won, drawing the other. They've already scored over 50 goals this season, 2/3 of their way through the season already. It's absolute kudos to the players, the fans, and the backroom staff and the coaches for getting that result for us last night. So, a couple of points that I made sort of during the game when I was watching. First and foremost, what a difference it makes when you actually play players in their natural position. When Nicky Devlin moved to wing back, when Angus came on and sort of went over that side, he's a different player. What a finish, by the way. I had no idea he had that in his locker. What a finish. And the celebration, I posted it today about Shinza. My God. That togetherness is already in evidence, I think. Now, considering it's 12 new players, and that sort of camaraderie together already, I think is very, very telling. I thought when Jamie came on, it actually gave Shinza more room to actually be more influential in the game and start dictating how he likes to dictate a game. At first, I was starting to wonder if he sort of found his legs. But in the second half, he really came into the game. And I just thought when Jamie came on, it just completely changed everything for him. The high press, I thought, when in evidence, it worked really, really well, because at times it forced them to sort of pass the ball long. And, at times we were winning the ball high up the pitch as well. The only downside for me, and you know me, I don't like to be sort of overly negative, but I thought, the first goal was a really bad goal to lose. We were caught out of shape. We were caught out of position. The boy Sadiq, for me, had far too much influence, particularly in the first half and the beginning of the second half. And I just don't think at Pittodrie that we can afford to allow him that much room and space on the ball, because he consistently punished us last night. And if it wasn't for Kelly making a couple of great saves and a couple of great blocks as well, we really could have been in a lot of danger last night. So I've got a feeling that what will happen potentially on Sunday, but I think this will happen for next week. I think we will go with a back 3 again, but I think what will happen this time is Richard Jensen will come in to replace Jack. I think Slobodan will stay in the middle, and Angus will go out to the right. So that's how I think that 3 will now sort of play. And then obviously with the wing backs either side as well. So let me know what you think. I'm done. I'm all done. So now it's all about you. So I've got to put my glasses on, because last night, honestly, I couldn't see. Getting old. Let's have a wee look at your messages and see what's going on. Oh, we've got rather a lot on tonight, which is great to see as always. So, right. John Grant. Hi, John. How you doing? He says, hi, everyone. What a game. I have never seen such an impact from 3 subs so immediately in a game. We have to start them all next Thursday. Sugarland is here. How you doing? He says, the team that finished that game looks the business with the likes of Jensen still to come in. Best team since Peak Deek. Interesting points. Terry McDermott is here. Stand free. How you doing, Terry? IAF 1903, agree 100%. A different approach from Barry, who has tended to limit himself to one substitute. Last night was superb substitutions who collectively changed the game. Kev's Wag, evening dandies, need to make that comeback mean something and finish the job at Todders. I'll be there to make some noise. Good man. Gordon Keith Ritchie, hi everyone. Great result last night. Now go and do it at Pittodrie and reach the group stages. Come on, you Reds. Ralph is here. What I really liked is that this team is going to get much better with the new signings hopefully sorting the defence. Players like Devlin and McGarry can concentrate on hurting the opposition. Mark Robertson, how you doing, Mark? He says, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, dandies. Alan Nichol, hi Alan. What was wrong with Nicky Devlin? Did he get a knock on the head and forget which end of the pitch he was at? Brilliant run by him. It was absolutely sensational. I honestly, when Bojan, who at first I was like, come on lad, we need so much more from you. But in the second half, he made me eat my words. I thought Bojan in the second half last night was just tremendous. He was brilliant. The way he took his goal, that touch, and just to flick it, oh man, it's just magnificent. And for the equaliser, and just if he just wasn't that sort of half a pace offside, for the third goal, which was obviously chopped off at offside. Oh my goodness. The second goal, the first goal obviously had me out my seat. The second goal had me out my seat, going mental, and got into rather a lot of trouble from Mrs. Begg because the neighbours complained. Me and my little boy Lennox going a bit mental last night when the second goal went in. Wasn't it fun? Gaz Mac is here, 1903. Evening, everyone. At 2-0 last night, I thought we would crumble. Unbelievable performance. Do you know, I have to say, the first thing I said to Lennox was, we must not lose a third. And then I immediately texted my brother and said, we must not lose a third goal here. What did you think of the penalty? I have to be honest. I've watched it time and time again today. Jack doesn't do himself any favours by sort of putting his arm in this position. But, I don't know. Maybe I need new glasses. But the ball doesn't deviate. It doesn't change direction. I'm not sure. I thought it was a strange decision. And I also didn't like how, there was no sort of on-air graphics to say what they were doing. During the Women's World Cup, they had on-air graphics to say exactly what the VAR was looking at. And then the referees would come onto the pitch after they've had a look at it. Mics would go up and they would say, after the review, the decision is this. That's what I think now needs to be introduced into the men's game, because it worked fantastically well during the Women's World Cup. So that was, for me, that was slightly confusing last night, and it needs to be addressed. So let me know, did you think it was a penalty or not? Because I'm still very much undecided. Scott W. has wished everybody a good evening. Lovely result last night. That second half performance was quite something. There was some outstanding play from the team. Matthew Call is here. Great result to get considering we were 2-0 down. Stand free. Kaiser's here wishing everybody a good evening. Stephen Lyle has said, didn't look good for a bit. Some comeback things. So proud. Paul Donaldson, evening all, great comeback last night. Great opportunity for Aberdeen to reach the Europa League group stage. Kaiser 1903 said, I'll be honest, I thought we were down and out. Mate, I don't think you were the only one. Sugarland has said, just watch Barry's St Mirren pre-match press conference, all so positive. Pity we couldn't hear the questions properly as usual. See, again, this is something that I think the club needs to address. So, look. This is just my humble opinion, and this is where I think Red TV in particular, and I don't mean to speak out a ton here, it's just an opinion. First and foremost, I think they should stream it live. And secondly, I think there should be a boom microphone there, which should be available to hear the journalists' questions. If any of the journalists are remote, again, they should bring the microphone up so that we can actually hear their questions. And I would not be surprised if many people would watch Barry's press conference live on Red TV. And for me, it's just an added service. The club have increased the price of Red TV, and which is fine. I have no issues with that. I understand it. It's not a cheap service to run. I completely understand it. But for me, if you're going to raise the price of your subscription, then you need to raise the standards of quality. So that's just my humble opinion. I'm not speaking out a ton about the football club. It's not a criticism of the football club. It's just an idea. That's all it is. So if anyone watching from the football club, don't take it the wrong way. It's just an idea. Al Mitchell has said, hi everyone, what a performance last night. Put ourselves in the best position to qualify for the group stages. Richard McKenzie has said, think we will win at home, no problem. Phil McLean has said, brilliant comeback. Look forward to playing them at Pittodrie, but never get a chance to get a ticket. Yeah, I know. Honestly, the ticket sold out so quickly, Phil. David Gold has said, buzzing, in a great position going into next week. AFC Dons 85 Jacko has wished everyone a good evening. David Gold has reiterated the point that we said, the subs made a massive difference last night. Mark Robertson has said, think we will potentially make 4 changes to the starting lineup on Sunday. Duncan, McKenzie, Polvaro and Morris all to miss out. Yeah, I can see that. I got to be honest, I thought, Shadon sort of hugged that touchline last night for a while. But I don't know what happened to him. He just went completely missing during the game. And this is something that's always worried me about Shadon. I think as I said last night, I think he started the season very brightly, on the front foot, was looking good, was looking dangerous. But again, that final ball was missing last night, but he went completely missing. I'm not surprised he got hooked in the end. So, yeah, I agree, Mark. I think there'll be changes as well. Scott W. said, I have to say also, I honestly don't feel a 2-0 loss would have been a disaster of a result. We'd still have been in it. To come back from 2-0 down and in the manner that we did was very encouraging. Sega Saturn Lad has said, good evening, what a great evening. I switched off at 2-0, worrying the worst. Oh, fella, I hope you switched it back on. Terry McDermott's back on. You missed your message, my man. Cracking game coming up next week. Certainly is, fella. Laura McLean has said, what a beautiful turnaround last night and even better this season. My new job doesn't include weekends, so definitely more game time for me. Congratulations on your new job. David Gold has also reminded us, played on a plastic pitch last night. Sugarland has said, Hacken's record is so good and we made them look pretty ordinary by the end. I completely agree, and I completely understand why Barry said, that he was actually disappointed not to win the game in the end. If we had another 5 minutes of extra time, injury time, we could have beaten them last night because we certainly finished the game on the front foot. Terry's back saying, Hacken are a good team, but struggled with our press and running when we got the subs on. Devlin and McGarry will bring a constant threat. We'll be stronger at home and on the front foot. Mon the Dons. Kaiser's back saying, Devlin's a right back, wing back, Negre in a back 3. That goes for McKenzie as well. Yeah, that's why I think he's more suited going forward. And that's why I think Angus will sort of play in that position from now on. There were so many praises for Bojan's performance last night. Terry's back just saying that he thought it was the best game that he's ever played in a red shirt. We spoke about it at the top of the show. Matthew Cooler said, live video won't work, but got the chat. I think we'll absolutely do them at Pittodrie. I'm sorry you haven't got the video. I don't understand why. I hope everyone else is okay. Paul Donaldson has said, hopefully Sadiq won't be at BK Hacken next week. AZ Alkmaar, young boys of Bern trying to sign him. And let's also not forget their big centre-back will be missing as well, which can only bode well for us. Jeff Mason has reiterated the point about Bojan. Best player on the park by miles. This guy just gets better and better. I agree. Mark Robertson has suggested maybe a back 5. McGarry, Jensen, Slobodan, Angus, Devlin. Interesting point, Mark. Yeah, a lot of you are talking about Sadiq, thinking that it will be his last game for BK Hacken. Scott W. has said, I'm not worried about Duke's seemingly slow start to the season. He started last season slow too and really came onto a game by November. Duke will prove he is not a one-season wonder. Yeah, I must admit, I felt he looked a little bit out of sorts last night, particularly with that miss in the first half. But I'm not worried about him at all. Absolutely not. Duke is Duke, and we know what we're going to get from him. He'll be absolutely fine. He will be absolutely fine. Kaiser's reiterating that point. Duke will be fine. Still did a lot of work last night. Andy B says, I think a few fans are still to get their heads around the high-risk pressing by the defence. We did the same against Celtic. We did. Scott W. has said, by the laws of the game, it was a penalty, but the laws of the game are getting soft. I could not agree more. Richard McKenzie saying Majowski looks a bit faster and sharper. See, again, this was a point that was made last night that the fitness of the team. Now, considering that they're 20 games into their season, we absolutely matched them last night for fitness. And towards the end of the game, I felt they were the ones that looked on the back foot. We were very much on the front foot, still going at them. And that's absolute kudos to the preseason that we've done and to the fitness coaches that are currently at the club. Mark Robson has said, I wouldn't mind VAR at half speed maximum. They slow it down to a minimum and interpretation is skewed. Oh, don't get me started. I've been saying this for months now. Gaz McDonald, 1903, has said, his hands were on the player's back, so hand never moved to the ball. Natural position, crazy for a penalty. But Kaiser, 1903, has said that McKenzie should have dealt with the situation better. Yeah, I agree. Terry McDermott then has said Jack McKenzie was unsighted by one of our players, and I just don't see how he can account for that ball coming in. Clearly not deliberate or an attempt to influence the game, and it's nonsense. I agree. Jason Campbell has said for the home leg, an absolute ban should be in place for the Harry Potter types who use the word todders instead of Pataudry. Gordon Keith Ritchie has said, poor penalty. It's time it's looked at where our players supposed to put their hands. Exactly. Baz Strachan is saying, wishing everyone a good evening. Great comeback and onwards to Thursday. Paul Donaldson has come back saying, was a strange game to try and follow on Red TV. Don't think Rob McLean and Steve Tosh were in the stadium. No, they weren't. They were definitely doing it off tube, which means that they were probably at Pataudry doing the commentary from Pataudry. And they couldn't see a few things like the subs-board injury time. Yeah, that's a problem when you do these things off tube, as we call it in the broadcasting industry, where they're basically sitting at home or they're sitting at Pataudry and they're commentating on the pictures that we see as well. It's completely different when obviously you're at the stadium and you can see everything that's going around. Andy B has said it will be interesting to see Jensen play, how mobile and fast. We need mobility on Thursday. McKenzie's 1v1 defending against wide players is his strength. Let me just go back a touch. Scott W. has said, in regards to the fitness of the team, I felt even against Celtic, we proved to be fitter than them. We had them on the back foot for long periods. Kudos to the coaching for the work they've done in training. Yeah. Sugarlander says, I agree. Todders, instant ban. I love it. Sega Saturnlad has said, do you think Hacken underestimated Aberdeen? Their coach was making some arrogant comments before the game. Do I think he was being disrespectful? No, I just think he was bigging up his own team. I don't think he underestimated us. I think he would have been surprised by how we played last night. And I'm sure at 2-0, he never expected what was going to happen in the sort of the final period of the game. That I don't think he was ready for. But no, I don't think he sort of was being disrespectful in any way, shape, or form. Look, let's not forget, these are press conferences. He's got to big up his team. All managers are going to do it. Fred McKenzie has said, why use VAR? They don't have it in Sweden. Is that true? Oh, I didn't actually know that. Mark Robertson has said, are you doing any pre-match or post-match stream for the St Mirren game? Yeah, we'll definitely be there for the St Mirren game. We'll do it. We'll do a pre and then we'll do the review on Monday night. Absolutely. Mark Robertson had said also the Hacken fans were heckling Aberdeen players. I noticed our boys were right into them after Devlin's goal. Yeah, they certainly were. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think that's what you call getting it right up them. Gordon Ronnie is here. Hi, Gordon. Hi, everyone. It's going to be an exciting season this year. It was a very soft penalty for me and very confusing. I reckon if we were on it, we can do them in the return leg. I agree. Stephen Lyle wasn't a penalty. Yep. Yeah, Jim Balfour makes an interesting point. about the Red TV thing that we were suggesting. So they'll be reticent to show pressers live in case a journal accidentally breaches an embargo. Better room miking needed urgently at Todders. Yeah, it's an interesting point. Look, it's you never know what you're going to get from journalists. You never know what sort of questions you're going to get, and there is stuff that's obviously embargoed as well. So yeah, I absolutely take your point, but that can all sort of be prearranged beforehand. So that whatever is embargoed, any sort of question or an award like Player of the Month, Manager of the Month, all that sort of stuff, that can all sort of be arranged beforehand, that it won't be asked, it won't be in the presser. So like it just takes a little bit of organisation. That's all it needs. Graham Mack says, I feel our strongest team can give the old firm. There is no such thing as the old firm, Graham. But he believes they can give them a real challenge this year, or just the euphoria of last night. No, look, this is where I'm at, and you know me. Like, we've only got a couple of minutes left, so I'll just finish with these thoughts. We've been doing this now for going on, 14 months or so. And I do get sick and tired of the sort of the mindset when it comes to playing the two from Glasgow, because we have nothing to fear. I felt the Celtic game, for me the score was very flattering and it was deceiving. And people who don't know the Scottish game, people who don't pay much attention to it, will just see that it was a comfortable ride for Celtic. It was far from a comfortable ride for Celtic. It was not a 3-1 game. So and I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it. It's what's in here, and it's what's in here when you cross that white line on a Saturday afternoon, a Sunday afternoon, or in midweek, and it's up to the player. It's up to the individual. The coaches can do all they can in the build-up to the game, on the training ground, in the dressing room before the game. But it's what's in the player's heart and in the player's head that will dictate whether he is up for the challenge of bettering his immediate opponent and making sure that his team, or he contributes to his team winning that game. So I think, look, it's very early doors. We're only a handful of games into the season. But there is so much in evidence to suggest that we could do well this season. Last night is an indicator of potentially where we could be and how we should be playing games of football. And I love how Barry comes out and talks the game, and he talks about it so well. And you can see what he is trying to implement. It was in evidence towards the end of last season, and it's already in evidence this season. And he did make a very good point about how many games already that we've played away from home, played a couple of games on plastic pitches, etc., etc. So Sunday will be another difficult test, but again, it will be a good indication of where we are and how far potentially this team could be. But it's early doors, very early doors. Okay, let's just quickly finish off and see if there's any more of your chats are coming in. Laura McLean has said the Glasgow 2 are up for the taking this season 100%. I completely agree. Look what Kilmarnock did. Al Mitchell has said, I think that Barry will always set up to win no matter who we're playing. Agreed. Jeff Mason has said, Shinnie at Devlin's goal. Loved it. He looked absolutely mental. He didn't he? Didn't he just? Terry McDermott has said, it suits us just fine for the Glasgow media to underestimate us after the 3-1 Celtic defeat. A few teams are going to get a doing from the Reds this season. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, Kaiser has said, we gifted that game to Celtic and the other lot, they're there to be beat. Okay. Right, guys, we are completely done. Thank you so much for watching, as normal. Just a quick point, we over 2,000 of you have watched the preview show ahead of the game last night. It continues to blow my mind. It really does. And your support is fantastic. And I love it, and I will continue to bang this drum all the time because I never ever want you to think that I take this for granted. I will never take it for granted. So guys, listen, thank you so much. I really hope you enjoyed the show tonight, and I will see you again on Sunday for the preview show ahead of the St Mirren game. So enjoy tonight, enjoy tomorrow, and we'll see you again on Sunday. Hopefully about an hour before kickoff, so again we can react instantly to team news. Stand free.